Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you and you and you and even you, the cryptocurrency investor, for joining me today. I've got a short video for you about why I still cannot get myself to buy a cryptocurrency. Okay? I actually looked at crypto 8, 9 years ago, Bitcoin, before most people had even heard of it, had any idea of what it was, and I couldn't get myself to buy it back then, unfortunately, and I still cannot get myself to buy it now. So I've got 6 things that I'd say bother me about the whole crypto Bitcoin universe. I'm going to share them with you, and I'd be curious to hear your feedback. Okay, I don't want. I'm not trying to make anybody mad or try to, insult any of the crypto people. I just there's certain factors about the whole cryptocurrency movement that don't sit right with me, and I'd be curious to hear your feedback and see what your thoughts are. The first thing that bothers me is, where did this stuff come from? Where did Bitcoin come from? As far as I know, there's some guy named Satoshi or something. I don't know. They think created it, but we don't know who actually created these cryptos and the blockchain and blah blah blah. It's like this mystery, which to me, when it comes to some like high level now financial instrument, that just seems a little suspicious that, we don't know kind of where this originated from, yet we're, more than happy to put, tens of thousands of millions of dollars now into this asset. My second thought on the whole crypto thing is, are the world governments really going to let crypto, some independent cryptocurrency, uh, take a big chunk, or some people say replace the currencies that are printed by the central banks of the most powerful countries in the world? Look, I'm no fan of central banks, but I got to be real, right? Like, is Japan and the European Union and China and the United States, are our central banks going to allow this to really occur where suddenly these independent cryptocurrencies are becoming more of a means of exchange than the currencies that are created and printed by the most powerful countries in the world? I'm a little skeptical in that whole arena. The next point that I want to bring up is what I view as like a religious, almost cult following for cryptos now. I mean, like, don't say anything negative about it. This is only good. And I think what's happened is a lot of people have gotten in over the last, especially, let's say, couple years. They've done nothing but go up. They've done nothing but make money. So people are crazed and, like, they love this stuff more than anything on the face of the earth, and I don't want to hear anything negative about it, and don't want to consider any risks involved with it, that it's only good and it's only going to take over, and that's it. I don't know. That just makes me a little suspicious, and how they can hate people that maybe like gold, like me, right? I like gold, silver, okay? Um, that Bitcoin's going to replace gold, and Bitcoin's going to, gold is for old people, for boomers. I'm a Generation X, by the way. Um, but there's almost like a hatred of anyone who's not, on the cryptocurrency boat with them. Look, I love gold and silver, okay, but I know there's a lot of drawbacks to them as well, and know that I could be wrong about my, I guess, bullish thesis on gold and silver. Um, but I just don't think that cryptos are going to completely replace precious metals. And here's why. If you think about it, a crypto is, it's an electronic version of money, or an electronic version of an asset. Um, it's kind of like, this is the best analogy I can come up with. When email came around, it was a transformative technology, right? We no longer had to write out letters on paper and put a stamp on it and physically mail it. It could all be done electronically. The computer screen basically replaced the paper. And in a lot of ways, I hate to break it to you, crypto guys, that's kind of the way that I view cryptocurrencies. It's replacing paper money per se, but there's no limit to the amount of paper money that can be printed, and there's no limit to the number and amount of cryptocurrencies that can be created and printed. I know Bitcoin's limited to X number of coins, blah, 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 but there's nothing stopping a competitive crypto from taking over Bitcoin, correct? And let's look out 10 years. Who knows what could happen? So I just don't see that cryptocurrencies are going to replace something like land or gold or silver or oil, things that are truly limited in supply. Sure, they can replace paper money, but they can't replace things that are truly in limited supply. The next point, and I think this is very important to remember regarding cryptocurrencies, there's a lot of fanfare surrounding the fact that major financial institutions have embraced crypto and Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. Don't forget this fact. Major financial institutions, including the biggest Wall Street banks, also embraced mortgage-backed securities. They were happy to sell them to people. They were happy to sell them to their clients. And guess what? Most of those became close to worthless, okay? They also, the big Wall Street banks and the big financial institutions, were more than happy during the 80s, way back in the 80s, when I was alive, to sell their clients things called junk bonds. And they were more than happy to sell these to their clients. And guess what? Most of the people that bought junk bonds wound up with investments that were worth significantly less than what they paid for. Like Peter Grandich says, rarely do you hear, this story, these Wall Street stories of popular flavor of the day financial products that are being backed by Wall Street in a bubble type environment. Rarely do you hear at the end, and the average investor lived happily ever after. Okay, so I don't buy the fact that, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't think that just because these big banks are supporting it, that it's legitimizes it, legitimizes it on a long-term basis. Final thing is this. And this was, to me, again, I could be dead wrong. Okay. Dead wrong. I fully admit it. But what made me real suspicious, I had a shoeshine boy moment. And if you know the shoeshine story, that was, I think, the old man Kennedy that made all the money for the Kennedy family right before the great stock market crash and depression back in the 20s. He said he would get stock tips from the shoeshine boys. And he knew that when that was going on, when the shoeshine boys were recommending stocks, that things were getting near a bubble. And I had a shoeshine boy, not with a shoeshine, but a acquaintance of mine who holds a highly respected position in our society, has a profession that's highly respected, I should say. Told me he wanted to talk to me, and I thought it was something to do with his line of work or whatever. And so I went and met with this guy and talked to him, and he was pushing pretty hard a cryptocurrency on me. And shortly after that little meeting, I thought, you know what? And I like this guy, but he's kind of a doofus, even though he has a high-level, highly respected professional job. He's kind of a doofus. I thought, this is my shoeshine boy moment. This is when I know that cryptos are probably potentially in a bubble. Hey, listen, I could be dead wrong, okay? And like I said, full disclosure, I'm a guy who likes gold and silver. But I just wanted to point out kind of why I can't get on board. And I know a lot of the gold people have pivoted. I hate that word. Pivoted, and are either now Bitcoiners or are kind of doing both, whatever. And that's great. And I'll tell you, I'll repeat for the 8th time, I could be dead wrong. But those are just kind of some factors that I look at within the crypto world that make me not want to put my money into it. So anyhow, I hope we both do well. That's another thing as well. You know, there's nothing to say that both crypto and precious metals could do well. Um, but my feeling is that there's going to be a lot of weird price movements within the crypto world over the coming years. Maybe Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million, you know, and I'm happy for you if it does. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you have a great day.